Hey everyone, welcome to the Self-Awareness Journey podcast. I'm Melissa Albers.
And I'm JJ Parker. This podcast is for seekers, seekers of happiness and joy, seekers of a centered approach to success in life, seekers of their true, authentic selves.
Get ready for some real talk on everything from anxiety, emotions, and habits to love, compassion, and forgiveness. We know you'll be challenged and enlightened by this conversation. We're so glad you're here. Let's dive in.
So I'm getting super close to a big kind of company goal we had set out a few years ago to get to a certain revenue goal with our carousel business.
Yeah.
And we are right there. We are right there. Our goal was to get to 6 million of annual recurring revenue. We just hit 5. We'll be to 6 at the end of the year. And it is pretty crazy to see a goal that we set in 2020, and we said it's going to take us 3 years, and like we're just perfectly on track.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
It is unreal. How do you feel about all that?
Well, that's what I wanted to talk to you about.
Oh, well, this doesn't sound like, what did they say? Sunshine and rainbows? No, unicorns and sunshine, whatever.
So we're like the leadership team. We're going over like the goals, the metrics. We're like, wow, this is amazing. And the next day I was like, I don't know. I just surprisingly emotional about it. I was like really kind of like, yeah, we're getting to that goal, but we could maybe go a little further. Or like, what's the next goal? Or,
Yeah.
I was getting really squirrely.
We both use the same word. Oh, but I can totally, that resonates for me because there's been even for me, I had this goal of getting this big project and it's a multi-year project. Mm-hmm. It's not the first time I've done it, but it's been a little while since I have. And I was just like all amped up about it before. I was like planning and, dreaming about it and what if this and what if that and dreamscaping and all of this stuff. And then I got it. But my emotions completely changed. So I feel like there is something around this idea of we set these goals for ourselves. And, a lot of times we're trying to build ourselves up and talk about when we don't hit goals. That's right. Common for people to talk about that.
Yeah.
It's not common for people to talk about when you do.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, we're going to have a podcast now about how we hit our goals and we still feel bad about it.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth?
So
talk to me about yours. I want to hear about yours first.
Right. So what I found myself doing, the first thing that I found myself thinking about was as I was approaching our goal, about moving the goal out farther. Like it's like I didn't want to get that close to it. Oh. And I don't know why. Right? It was like we're having fun, right? I like what's going on. Not that we're going to change anything once we hit this particular goal.
Yeah.
But I found myself just naturally kind of ignoring it and not wanting to celebrate it and just try to push it out farther so we never hit it. I just you know what I mean? I wanted to make it a moving target and push it out into the future more and more so we never hit. I'm like, why am I doing that? Well, because we can hit that and celebrate it and have fun, and whatever, but I was naturally trying to push it out.
Yeah, but you described it. The very first words you said are, we've been working on this really fun thing. Mm-hmm. It's been really fun. Like the whole experience of the work and the camaraderie and the team and the pivoting and the shifting and the sifting and sorting, like that's been primary in your brain and your activity, for years actually.
Yeah. Well, and even kind of probably before we even set off 3 years ago to do this one particular part of our current business.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like maybe I'm just kind of in fear of like losing or like not changing, like and changing what we have going on, like losing, like the loss of the actual goal and driving towards the goal as a team is, and again, I know like probably folks at work are like listen to the podcast on like it seems not changing.
Nobody panic. Nobody panic. Nothing's changing. Everything's fine. Look away. No, nothing's happening.
But yeah, this idea that like we set off for a kind of a time period and a metric we wanted to hit, and we did it, and now we're gonna have to like figure out what the next one is.
Yeah, but I don't think
period of time has been so fun that I'm like, I don't want it to change.
You're mourning that already. You're mourning the change. You're mourning the loss of. Well, and you're talking about it. Well, and I know you're very sneakily and quickly doing that because you're introverted and it's no fun to just talk about yourself. But, I think there is a really interesting thing to talk about, which is our own feelings with ourselves when we set big goals. Because the feelings and the emotions and the energy and the activities, when you have a goal for yourself, you're focused on it. And if the goal is big and you've consistently been able to do that for so many months, there's a real emotional attachment to just the feeling of reaching for that, just the feeling of it. I think there's a huge emotional attachment to it. And we attach those emotions for all sorts of reasons. Like just talking about my situation, like I love what I do. I'm plenty busy. I'm in a great spot. And I still attach to this idea of something bigger or more. And just for the fun of it, I just pictured it and, dreamt about what it would look like and how I would feel in it and how would I be different now versus the last time. Like I was very emotionally attached to all of the thoughts and the time that I invested in it. And it isn't even so much about getting the goal as much as being attached to the feeling of reaching towards it. And the bigger the goal, the more you're attached to it because you're doing it longer and it requires more of your personal resource.
Yes, I agree. Like, when you have a big goal, you have all of like, you hope you're going to get it. You're working towards it every day. You have aspirations and all, and you spend so much time thinking and planning and doing. Yeah. And just being in that state is very addictive. Like you want to be in that state of driving towards a goal. It's fun to be in that state.
Yeah. And it gives your mind something to focus on other than stress, anxiety, day-to-day, hem-ha, boring stuff, or, bigger stressors in your life. It gives you something to focus on.
Yeah, the nice thing about having a big goal, whether it's a job goal, a life goal, whatever it might be, is to me it helps you really zoom out. Just like you said, like, oh, does this one little thing that happened at work today matter in the scheme of getting to my big audacious goal?
Yeah, no. That's true too.
It really doesn't. Let's keep focused up here. Yeah. At the top of the mountain. And let's not worry about all of this little stuff that just happened.
Yeah. Not long ago was the Grandma's Marathon in Duluth, Minnesota, several weeks ago. And I was thinking around these same things actually in the goal of running a marathon because it's the same thing. It's setting a long-term goal. You can't decide in 2 weeks that you're going to run a marathon unless you're already a runner. But let's say you're not. Let's say you're the average human being. To run 26.2 miles requires all sorts of things to work, right? All sorts of focus for a really long time. And some people will train for months and months and have a bad running day and not hit their goal. But sometimes people will train for months and months and they do hit that goal, right? And in order for that to work, the body has to be in alignment, your mind has to not play games with you when you hit mile. Well, for me, it was 4. But most people are at mile 20. They hit what they call the wall. So there's a mental aspect to it. And then there's also the emotional part. You know, you have strong emotions when your body or your mind aren't working in the way that they're meant to in this one particular goal. And then you hit that goal. And then what's next? You know, people can say, oh, yeah, just go run another one. But the truth of the matter is not many people will do that.
Yeah.
You know, and so even in that situation, I just think about training. For me, it took me like 2 years to train because I ran a mile and I hated it. Then I had a good training run and I didn't. So like this is going right back to what you're saying. It's like zooming out. If you have a 6 mile bad training run because it's 92 degrees and high humidity, you can walk back into your garage or house and say, I am never doing that again. Or you can say, it was a bad run and it's okay because I'm going to try it again.
Yeah.
Like, there's just a number of things in our lives in these bigger goals that do require so much more of us long term.
Yep. Okay, here's the other thing I realized about where I'm at with my goal. And I'm going to here, since you used a sports metaphor, I'm going to use one too.
Oh, yeah, that's because we're both super sporty. Well, actually, we're not bad. Okay.
Well, okay. So,
yeah.
As you know, we go on these rock climbing adventures, right? And one of the kinds of rock climbing we do is called multi-pitch trad, which means that me and my partner start on the ground. Like I go up, you know, maybe 150, 200 feet, build a little anchor, bring my partner up that 200 feet. Then I go up another 200 feet.
No, thank you.
Build an anchor. Bring it. So like we venture from the safety of the ground. We venture into the vertical.
The ground. I like the ground.
Up, right. Next goal, get a couple more 100 feet up. Bring my partner up. A couple more 100 feet. Get my partner up. A couple more 100 feet. It's step by step by step by step.
Yeah.
Right? And we do that until we get to wherever we're going. Like sometimes it's, you know, a lot of the times it's somewhere kind of halfway up the mountain. Because maybe a lot of these routes don't, you know, they don't go quite to the top or whatever. But what's interesting is when I get to these spots where it's like the quote top is somewhere in the middle of the mountain, I always look up and say, well, I wonder what's up there.
Oh.
I'm not anyone
not satisfied,
right?
Quite satisfied.
Any climb that doesn't end on the absolute summit, the very tippity peak of the mountain.
Is that a technical term?
Technical term, yeah.
Tippity peak. Got it.
I feel unsatisfied because I'm always like, well, I mean, we made it to where we wanted to go, but like, there's more up there. I wonder what's up there. I just start wondering. And I feel like that's kind of where I maybe am with this particular goal. I'm just kind of wondering what the next part of the mountain looks like.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like scary, and it's curious, and like it's unexplored. So there's a lot of kind of emotion around the idea that if you're getting towards a goal, but maybe there's more to go, like it's a really fun position to be in. And there's a lot of emotions right there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, definitely, because I think too, when you set big goals, you usually set them because you think that they might not get reached. Like, you don't want to say that out loud, but the feeling is, wow, if we hit this, that is really, really a lot.
Yeah.
Like, if I hit this, that's huge for me, right?
Yep.
And I think that, you know, being in sales my whole life, I'll tell you something, is I learned to play in that right there every single month but it's not, if left unchecked, it's not actually super healthy or fun anymore. So it's fun in a big thing, But if it's a day-to-day expectation and thought process, it actually starts to get painful almost. What I mean by that is being straight commission my whole life, right? Being in jobs where there was an end goal at the 30th of every month, right? If I hit those goals, then I would be like, oh, I should hit it so much that I'm in the top 10%. Oh, I should hit it so much that I'm in the top 5%. I wonder if I can do that every single month. And the feeling of hitting that goal, right behind it is, well, I maybe didn't set it high enough.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
Like maybe I didn't set it high enough. And so none of these things, we're not even really talking about the tactics of doing it. We're not even talking about what the goal is. It's just the emotions and the conversation that you have with yourself over time as these goals are sitting in your system. And I think the longer the goals are, the more you have a relationship with them as though they're their own entity.
That's a great word. You have a relationship with the goal. That is totally true. That is totally true. That's such a great way to phrase everything we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Right? Because like any relationship, it's like sometimes like you really love the goal. Well, at first you're probably like very like
you don't know the goal very well yet.
Yeah. But
like dating.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're kind of crushing over it, you know, like you're all starry-eyed about the goal and optimistic and excited.
Yeah, exactly.
And then sometimes like you really dislike that goal.
Absolutely.
Like,
think, why the hell am I in this relationship?
Why am I doing this stupid goal? It's so dumb. Yeah, that's fine. And that's probably why when we start to get to what might be the end of a goal, it would be kind of a lot of similar feelings like the end of a relationship.
Yeah. That's what I was getting at. Is I think that there is a lot of that. It's like it's an almost an end of an era.
Yeah.
An end of a relationship, an end of an era, and there is some loss with that. Even if you hit your goal, it's always easy to attach that same emotion when you haven't hit a goal that you've worked on for a long time, which is why I think everybody always talks about that part. People are always talking about, oh, you didn't hit a goal, but you tried so hard and you did all this, and you know. But it's these same feelings.
Yeah.
It's the same feelings. It's just the other side of the same coin. I think it'd be interesting to talk about what do you do after.
Well, Coach Melissa, you should tell me so I don't get all knocked off kilter in a couple of months.
Well, I think, it's not so much the tactics and the what should I do. It's the what feelings are available for me. Like, what would be a good way to feel about this? And what would be some things to think about?
Oh, yeah. Well, here, I can tell you exactly what I'm going to do if I'm not more intentional about it.
Okay.
That's exactly what I'm going to do when we hit that goal.
Okay.
We're going to hit it. I'm going to say, awesome, we hit that goal. And then we're just going to move right to the next one without ever
celebrating,
missing a beat, right?
Yep.
Because that's just the way I do things.
I know.
And that's not good.
Well,
it's not. It's like we've talked about before, right? It's really valuable to like take a pause, celebrate your win, right? And feel proud of what you did. But for whatever reason, I know that I just will move to the next thing.
Okay, well,
immediately. So you can hold me accountable for
a little
bit of celebration.
I was just gonna say your team and I will be right there, and though we do already know this about you, it will not be something that we allow.
given this amount of awareness, we did last week. We've been working on this like security and compliance thing for a year and a half or something. Like it's a super long running project. It got done last week.
Oh, wow.
Which is awesome. Congratulations, team, if you're listening. But we didn't do anything to celebrate it yet. And yesterday I did reach out to the team and said, hey, how are we going to celebrate this thing?
Because well done. That's new.
Right? That is new.
That's new.
Because I knew
well done.
that like I signed the document it is like codified in our business. And then, then I was just back on to the next thing. And I realized a few days later, it's like, ooh, crap, we need to stop and we need to plan a thing. Luckily, just like you said, the team's already planning a thing, so they knew I wasn't going to do it.
Okay, so I think that's really a good thing, is like, yes, taking time to acknowledge that you've hit the goal, like taking time to acknowledge it. But I also have another idea. I think it's worthy of thinking about what you want to feel next. How you want to think next, because there's a whole bunch of brain space that's going to be open that wasn't filled with how are we going to get there? How close are we? What do we do? What's the,
I want to feel like a Snickers. Satisfied.
Oh my God. That's so geeky.
Well, that's my favorite candy.
But that's like a dad joke that you just threw down with such conviction. Or you could be like Ted Lasso, be a goldfish and totally forget everything and start over. Like, that to me would be kind of an interesting thing, right? Like, think about that for a second. Like, think about it. Like, what do you do after you hit a big goal? I don't even care what the financial thing is, what any of it is. It's like, I think it's to be honest with ourselves and kind of celebrate that we get this goal, but also mourn all of the changes that are there.
Mourn the loss of the goal.
Yeah. I don't think it has to take up a ton of space, and I don't think that it has to replace the joy, but I do think it's an honest approach.
This is okay. I mean, we've been this is a lot of our conversations is kind of around, well, in my head right now, is around sort of these business career kind of goals.
Oh yeah.
But I know what you're saying, but what just dawned on me is it would be so interesting to have a company culture where you actually, there's like kind of like almost like a set ceremony around how you deal with achieving goals.
Yeah.
Right?
That's really interesting.
Yeah, from a culture perspective.
Yeah. Because honestly though, yes, you've been talking about it in business, and I've kind of been, in my mind, kind of going back and forth actually as we're talking both business and personal, because I think that there's a lot of long-term goals that people have in their personal lives too. I use the example of a marathon, but what if you're building a house? What if you're trying to save money to buy a car? What if you are dating somebody and the goal is you want to marry them? I think people get so focused on winning the goal that they don't often think about after the goal. I was just trying to think of like what my personal goal is right now. Oh God. Oh, okay.
My current personal goal for the past this isn't a big goal, but my personal goal for the past few weeks has been to like grow some grass in this part of my yard that doesn't have any grass, and I go out there like 3 times a day and like hand water it, right? And the grass is starting to come up.
Yeah.
But I was like thinking, I was like, I'm gonna be sad when I don't get to come out here 3 times a day and like delicately water this grass.
There, see, that's it right there.
Like a funny little routine.
It is, but you will lose the routine. See, this is my point. Yeah. It's like, I think we don't spend enough time or value this idea that there is also loss in great win. I think we don't value that, and I think
you've got all sorts of great phrases today.
I guess I do. I got up really early, and I've had a big, huge, tall glass of cold pressed coffee. Well,
once my grass comes up, then I'm going to go out there and just have a moment with it just for closure.
Okay, you joke about this all you want, Mr. I got it, but I'll be there to catch you when you're right in the same spot with the business too, because I think that there's all sorts of emotion that goes behind that, and no one wants to think about the ones that don't feel good. Yep. It's like nobody wants to do that. But I think also being able to think about what's next behind it would also be very helpful. And I think sometimes we feel like that's being too cocky because we're assuming we're going to get it, or I don't think we're really taught to think about after.
Yeah, but the thing is, we've talked about it a whole bunch of times, is there is cockiness, but there is also just like the law of attraction, right? This idea, like you feel it, you see it, you feel it, you become it. But I really like this idea. I'm just really now, you've got me really reflecting on the idea about why I don't like celebrating wins and goals. And it very well could be because what I'm actually doing is mourning the loss of the goal.
Yeah, because one of your big tenets of your personality is loyalty and consistency. Like those are two very big things for you. And when you hit a goal, you can't sit and go back to the same goal after it's been achieved.
Right.
Like, there's nothing to do.
Yeah, that has just completely 180'd my view on achieving goals.
Wow. Such a big podcast.
All right. Well, with that, that's it. That's it. You have done your job. You changed my mind.
That's awesome.
I think I'll feel
and
better.
It's what? And it's 20 after 7. Oh, well, we've done quite well for the day.
Cool. Well, this was super fun. This is super fun, and it's super helpful. I mean,
awesome.
I always tell people like this is my like weekly. This is how I get free coaching.
Oh, please. Might be time for you to up-level your coach. Just saying.
Did you enjoy this episode? Please go to your favorite podcast platform to subscribe, rate, and leave a review so others can discover it as well.
Growing self-awareness is a lifelong journey, and there's always further to go. And it's better when we're all in it together. Please think of someone you know who could benefit from hearing today's conversation and share this episode with them. We can't thank you enough for listening. Until next time, happy exploring, seekers.